Hello, HumeFog students. Today I'm going to show you how you can research information about food culture and how it has fused together. So your main source is your LibGuide. So I'm going to be going over that with you today. First things first, in case you forget, the project description is here, so you're welcome to use that. A good starting place, if you have no idea about food from a certain country, is actually going to be Culturams, and you'll see that right here. And there's a username and password, so if you have no idea, that's a great place to start. Once you log in, you click on Culturams, and then you're going to get this little part, and you're looking at the World Edition. So it's pretty cool because you can actually search by country or by certain region. So let's say I was looking for Honduras, I could click on that. It's going to give you really a short amount of information on many different things. But one of those things it does give you information about is diet. And so you can look at the diet and it's going to give you some typical dishes, and that's really helpful for this project. Up here you can generate the citation, and it's going to give you that to you as well. So it's not a lot of information, but if you have no information to begin with, that's a great place to start. Back on the LibGuide, you see that you can actually search our catalog. We have many travel books which will give you basic information about dishes of a certain country, and we also have a couple of really great reference books. One of those books is Culinary Spain, and so what's really cool about that is that it's not so much information about like recipes as it is about the history of where a certain food came from. So a lot of times when you're dealing with fusion cooking, the original dish may be of Spanish origin, but it's changed as it's gone to Latin America. So that can be really helpful for you, and you would use the index to help you find that information. We also have several books. For example, we have Food Culture in South America, and those books can be helpful for that same purpose, that they really talk about more about the food and not so much about the recipes. We do have some books that are mostly recipes as well. Look on the cart and see if there's something that might suit your needs. Similar to Culturegrams, we do have several encyclopedias. These encyclopedias can be good for very basic information about a country or about its culture. And I'm talking very basic, like even more basic than Culturegrams. But if you have no background on a country or that area, then that might be a really helpful place to start. Now, here is a link to Sweet Search, which is actually a web search, and I do actually prefer it to Google many times because it is does tend to have a little bit more reliable information on there, so you can try that as well. And a similar source, it's going to be a step up from an encyclopedia, would be Gale Student Resources and Contexts. So that would be a decent one, and it would pull some magazine articles if there are ones. As well, there may be something in the Encyclopedia of Latin America about a certain food, and it would give more about the history of the food. So all the usernames and passwords are right there for you. So try them out. They may not have anything once you've figured out your product, but then they might as well. Now, one of something that may actually be pretty useful to you is Gale Virtual Reference. I'm going to show that to you next, and you can see that right down here. In Gale Virtual Reference, these are actually ebooks, and we do actually have some ebooks that might be helpful to you. One of them is we do have an encyclopedia of food and culture. We also have countries and their culture. We have then this encyclopedia of Latin American history and culture. We have foods and recipes of the world, and so these can be pretty helpful to you. In this case, you might go directly into one of the encyclopedias, so you can actually click on a certain one. So if I wanted to, I could actually click into this one. But then I can also search up here for a topic, and it may or may not come up like this, but you can try this out. So in this case, I did actually get a hit on tortilla, and so it's going to talk about kind of the history behind that. Great thing about these sources is that they do come with citations. So if I was going to use this, I would just go up there and click on citation tools, and then it would have a citation in there for me. Before I show you what may be your best source, because sometimes it can be a little bit harder to find information on these topics, I do want to show you a couple of examples of bad sources. And there are lots of blogs that are written, and lots of travel websites that are out there that are just not, they just aren't what you need. And so in this case, you can kind of see there's lots of ads here. This is pretty common. This is from a Spanish language institute, and a lot of times they're taking information directly from Wikipedia, and they, so it's not really been properly researched. So do be aware of that. If you have any questions, please contact Mrs. Smithfield and ask her. And so here's another one where you have, this is a blog, and so the person's giving information, but you can kind of click around here and find out that this is just, this is just a regular person, and who lives here, like in the United States, and is just trying to give some background before she shows off her cooking. And so that's not a good source for you either. So back to the LibGuide, I do want to show you about Google Books. So Google Books is a wonderful source. Basically, they're books that have been scanned into Google, but there are a couple hints on how to use them. So in this case, I am trying to find the history of paella. I probably did terrible pronunciation there on that. And it does pull up some sources, but here's the trick on using Google Books. You want to view more results at Google Books, okay? And then when you do that, there's a couple of different ways to do it. Sometimes you'll see another way here to there's a couple of different ways it'll have, depending on what browser you're using, to select books. But a lot of times I'm looking for my search tools, and I want to make sure that there's a preview available, because if not, then all I'm doing is getting a picture of the cover. So I definitely want to have that. And then it limits my information, and so that's really helpful to me. So I might click in here, and it's going to give me a little bit of information. I can see how many results I have. Just like anything else, some sources are better than others. So I might, this looks pretty good. So I might find a source here that's great, and there may be a couple that aren't as great. But Google Books may indeed be one of your very best sources. On your MLA citations page is information on, how to set up a paper in MLA format. It also has information, if you do use Google Books, on how to cite that. Of course, here is our information on EasyBib and how to set up your EasyBib account. In case you haven't, you probably have. You can also go ahead and add annotations in EasyBib, and then it's going to format it for you. And I'll put on there an example of what an annotated bib looks like, but it's all double spaced. It's alphabetized by the citation with a hanging indent titled Annotated Bibliography. So that's kind of how you do it. Y'all seem to be pretty good at it, and a good annotation is at least 4 sentences with a 3-sentence summary, not direct quoting, summary, and at least 1 sentence evaluation of the source. Some sources are going to be better than others, and it's okay to say that. And when you're talking about sources in the annotated bib, you should really be looking at them in context of your other sources. So a source may be more visual, it may have, it may be have more information and maybe more succinct. Another source may be more wordy, or it might have less pictures, and so you're kind of almost comparing them when you're talking in an annotated bib situation. So I'll be there soon, but hopefully this will get you started right now, and when I come in, I'll be ready to help you.